look, you don't need to do anything. If you're going to go off cycle and then you're going to go back on in 6 to 8 weeks, then probably not a big deal. I just like the whole idea of turning the testicles back on, turning the pituitary on, even though it's temporary because you're going to go back on cycle in 8 weeks or so. But it's not necessary. You just might feel terrible, for longer. Because if you do PCT, which is 2 weeks of HCG, 2 weeks of Clomid, and then 4 weeks off, that's my protocol. The first 4 weeks, you'll feel pretty good because you still have some stuff in your system. Plus, you got the HCG kind of turning your testicles on. The last 4 weeks is usually when people don't feel so great, but that's only 4 weeks. 4 weeks goes like that. And now, if you don't do any PCT, you might feel worse. Those first 4 weeks might not be as good of an experience. You might have a longer period to go off. I mean, I don't recommend it, but if you were going to go off completely and say, you know what, Dave, I'm not taking any gear for 6 months, you better do a PCT because then you're going to be in big trouble because then nothing's turning back on probably. So, but if you're going to go right back on after, like I said, an 8-week off period, you could probably get away with not doing it. Do I recommend it? No.
Feed Me Good Eats, currently taking 20 mg of rovastatin while going on cycle. How well will the statin do to keep lipids under control?
These statins work differently in different people. I really am not a big fan of them. The only time I tell people to take them is if you have a genetic predisposition for super high LDLs and you have blockages or calcium buildup in your vessels. Well, how do you know that? Well, blood work will tell you what your LDL levels are. And I have guys that come back to me, they're like, well, my LDLs are 130, which is a little high. They should be about under 100. And then I'll put them on like Omega Lyes. I'll get them on Fiber Lyes. And you know what? It comes down to normal. So those people are not the people we're talking about. I'm talking about people that have like an LDL of 200 or plus or 190 plus, and they cannot get it down no matter what they do supplement-wise, diet-wise, cardio-wise. It doesn't budge because that's their family history. They have a family history of high LDL cholesterol. Their father had it. Their grandfather had it. And then they go and they get a cardiac CT scan or cardiac CT calcium score, and it's high or it's above zero. Now they have two risk factors for coronary artery disease. Number one, they have high LDL cholesterol running around their body, looking to be deposited into vessels. Number two, they actually have some blockages, or they have the beginnings of some buildup, meaning that they have a genetic predisposition that has nothing to do with diet. This is what their body does, unfortunately, because they're genetically programmed to do that. Those people should take statins. But if you have a high LDL and you have a zero calcium score, you have no blockages on a cardiac CT scan, I wouldn't take a statin. There's too many side effects to go along with that. But like I said, if you have both of those extenuating circumstances because that's genetically what you're prone to, I definitely would consider taking it. How much it will inhibit, cholesterol or block, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's quantified that yet. That just seems to be a standard. You have this problem, you take this. But doctors like to overprescribe statins. So, take it with a grain of salt. Look at all the data first before you make a decision.
Robert Paul, been monitoring my morning fasted blood sugars recently. Seems morning is around 87 or 94. Looking at past blood work over the years, this seems where I land. Seen as low as 76, high of 103 in years past. Would a slow acting over-the-counter insulin be beneficial, or do I listen to my doctor and not worry about it? Active, 43 years old. Don't want to end up in a situation 20 years from now where it's something I can handle at this time.
Right. Well, his blood sugars sound like they're in range most of the time. 94 once in a while is not a big deal. Now, if you're running in the hundreds a couple of days a week, that's not good. But it seems like he's mostly, in the normal range, under 90. I get a couple of 92, 94s here and there. That's just normal. Plus, you know what? Those blood sugar monitors from Walmart that I tell everyone to get the Rely-Ons, they're only accurate, so accurate. So you got to do plus or minus, 5 or 6 points. So even if you're 95, you're probably still in the normal range. I wouldn't get too worried about it. If you're running over 100, though, on a regular basis, that's too high, or close to 100 on a regular basis, that's too high. And then I would consider using a long-acting insulin, whether it be Tresiba is the best one out there, but then there's Lantus, and then you can get the stuff at Walmart for $25 without a prescription. That's Novulin N. So that's the long-acting Novolin brand, and that's Walmart sells that really cheap, $25 for a 10 cc bottle. That's what a lot of people use because it's just easy to get. You don't need a prescription. It's really, really inexpensive. And I even have a couple of guys that have some post-meal high blood sugars, and they're actually using the Novolin R, which also Walmart sells for $25 for a 10 cc bottle. That's like it's a fast acting, but not a super fast acting. So it'll basically cover 2 meals. It'll cover, if you take 10 units of the Novolin R, it'll give you 5 units at 1 meal, and then 2 hours later you get another 5-unit release. And so you get 2 meals covered with that. And that's for guys that just have post-meal highs. Most people who start out with a little bit of blood sugar issues who are on GH, it's the morning blood sugars that are a little high and they're elevated. And that really responds very well to a short-acting insulin. Now, we're going to be doing a show, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, with Colette Nelson again on some of the new insulins, because they came out with a whole bunch of new insulins that she's going to tell us about and get us excited about as well. But for now, like I said, Walmart seems to be the easiest place to go.